Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. Today's topic is a very, very interesting one. If you're into cloud and you are looking for certification, this session is for you. So before we get started, I would like to again introduce myself. I'm Garima Vajpayee, founder for the DevOps community of practice here in Canada, which has several chapters: Toronto, Edmonton, Ottawa, Atlantic provinces, Montreal. If you have not subscribed to any one of our communities, please do check out the communities and the events. Today, we are going to talk about should you get a cloud certification? And this is also triggered by the number of certifications, the course contents I have been developing for various accredited institutes and organizations. And I thought that it would be a good topic to discuss and see where it takes us. Again, I will also introduce my book, Strategizing Continuous Delivery in Cloud, later in this session, as well as if you're interested in certifications, we have a giveaway from PACT. It's Certified Kubernetes Administrator Exam Guide. So please join us face-to-face in our events to be one of the lucky winners of this giveaway. So let's get started. I will actually start this session with certain basics like certifications, and you might have questions in your mind that why certification? And I will give you some key insights, and this is from various reports which have been produced in 2022. The reports reflect that IT professionals continue to see the importance of certifications. Certifications are like micro credentials. Matching results from last year, 91% hold at least one certification. More than 96% of IT managers believe that certified staff add value to their organization. And 45% see a boost in productivity as a result. 91% of hiring managers report certification as one of the hiring criteria. So if you're new to the field, you want to pivot into a new career, please pay attention to this. Professionals who have gained new certifications receive better salaries and increments. And lastly, IT professionals prefer a formal instructor-led approach as opposed to peer-to-peer training. Of course, online trainings is an option, but this is one of the reflections we get from the community. Now, talking about certifications and why this is important and why organizations, industry leaders should pay attention to this. You must have heard about tackling the skill gap, and so few qualified workers. So this is one area through which you can give your organization a skill-up program. And certifications are probably the bridge between industry and academia. So often we see, students who are graduating out of courses, they tend to lean to these certifications just to kind of bridge that knowledge gap as well as associate themselves to a particular job role. The growth in certification programs is in large part due to the smaller commitment of time and money as well. And if you are new to IT field and don't have any past experience, an IT certification can go a long way. I always advise newcomers who are in Canada to pay attention to this. If you want to pivot into a new career path, which is often a case with when you're immigrating into a new country or you're looking into other options to kind of get into the workforce, certifications is definitely a very, very good way to get started. Now, certifications, what they are, like to demystify, certifications is the provision by which an independent body of written assurance, that's a certificate, that the product or a service or a system or a professional meets a specific requirement. Now, professional certifications are of different types. There are 3 general types of certifications. corporate or internal certifications. If you are associated with big or small companies, you must have experienced that these companies create skill-up programs for their employees, and they are often tailored to their own requirements. Product-specific certification, of course, there are many of them today. If you are into cloud computing, you would appreciate their certifications from AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and many of these products often offer certifications as one of the benchmarks to prove your skill into that particular product. Profession-wide, there is a body, there are several bodies who provide neutral certifications. And to name a few, like when I talk about DevOps, so DevOps Institute, Exin, Global Knowledge, all these certification bodies. Also, there are online training providers, like if you go to Udemy or Coursera or Cloud Academy, you'll find a lot of good courses to support your certification needs. Now, as I explained, corporate certifications or internal certifications, these certifications are custom made to a specific need of an organization. They are less portable than others. What it means is that it is very good in terms of a corporate or an internal organization to kind of scale up their resources, but it's not portable outside an organization because it's very, very specific and tailored to their needs. Product specification, on the other hand, as I said, is certified on a version of software like AWS Certified Cloud Provisioner or Azure Fundamentals, etc., which has like a specific value in terms of that particular product. So if the product is doing well, of course, there will be a huge demand of those certifications. Profession-wide certifications, it's the most general type of certifications like Cloud Foundation, and I mentioned a few others. I'll go through some of these in more details as we go along in this session. Now, I will also like to highlight early on in this session that not all certifications are created equal. What it means is that there is a certain value associated with a particular type of certifications. So I've researched this topic and I found out that through all the reports, in United States and Canada, the certification associated with the highest salary in 2022 is CRISC, that's Certified in Risk and Information System Control. The average salary is like 167K, and followed by AWS Certified Developer, which has an annual salary of 160K, Google Certified Professional Cloud Architect with 160K as well. The top 5 salaries by certification, as I list here, and the source of this report is Global Knowledge Skill Report 2022. So obviously today we are going to talk about AWS certification, as well as we will talk about some related certifications which stand more or less the same when you account for that value system which we are talking about here. So let's quickly get started. Now we are talking about specific certifications because we have mentioned AWS and its value towards the professional community. Let's get started with AWS certification track. You must be wondering what is the starting point for individuals in non-technical role. Often I have this question from the community, like, I want to pivot my career. I want to kind of start something, in cloud computing or in certain areas of emerging technology. And is it too late to kind of get started? So my recommendation would be to look at one of the most foundational certifications. There are non-technical certifications and also technical certifications. So let's talk about like general fundamental level. AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner certification. This offers a foundational understanding of AWS cloud concepts, services, terminology, and It is tagged as foundation level. It has 90 minutes to complete the exam, and the cost is around about 100 USD when I was making this, recording this session. Format 65 questions, either multiple choice or multiple response, and delivery method is like online proctored, or you can have a UE testing center. So all in all, this certification is good if you're trying to pivot into a new career. If you're a new graduate starting to seek some experience in industry, I would highly recommend you start to look at this kind of certification. There are many more, but these are things which always will help you. If you're trying to immigrate and get into the workforce, again, this is another good way of displaying your knowledge. Now, these criteria which I have mentioned on the slide, they keep on changing a little bit. So it is advisable that you always check out the AWS site for good references. And I'll tell you that, organizations like AWS, Azure, Google, they have a lot of material online. So they have exam guides, preparation sessions, webinars. Even AWS is starting a cloud practitioner certification challenge for this cloud practitioner certification in March 2023. So these kind of things keep on coming. So I would highly recommend you check all those artifacts, guides, and if you still have some questions, you can always let us know through comments or through connecting to the community. Now let's get moving. Now, AWS also have role-based certifications, and I have picked the certifications which are related to cloud computing DevOps because that's one of the areas our community is very active in. There are other tracks which you can also look at. So when we talk about those kind of roles, role-based certifications are those who showcase their knowledge and skill on AWS and build credibility as an AWS cloud professional. Prior cloud or strong on-premise IT experience is recommended. So obviously, these certifications which are shown in this slide are a little difficulty level of these certifications is a little higher than the cloud practitioner one. The length of the exam is 130 minutes or 180 minutes. It's like differing with different types of exams. You have to check out at the site how these are kind of formatted. The cost is around about 150 USD, and the format is 65 questions. Either they are multiple choice or multiple response. So these three certifications you can look if you're building a career in AWS with a role-based certification, specifically inclined towards, let's say, cloud computing or DevOps. Now, I will also introduce to you advanced role-based certifications. So there are two of them which I highlight here because I'm talking about cloud computing and DevOps. So there is AWS Certified Solutions Architect Professional and AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional. Role-based certifications, again, that validate advanced skills and knowledge that is required to design, secure, optimize, and modernize applications and automate processes on AWS. It is recommended that 2 years of prior AWS cloud experience before you actually take this exam. It's a professional level exam. It costs you 300 USD. Format is 75 questions, either multiple choice or multiple response, 180 minutes to complete the exam. And of course, these requirements keep on changing. So please do visit the site. AW has a lot of good material, white papers, exam guidelines. There's tons of free resources available on that site. So I highly recommend you check out that. Now, AWS also has some specialty certifications, as I was talking about. So if you're a DevOps engineer and you want to specialize in, let's say, advanced networking or data analytics or database or machine learning, security, those kind of things, they're also covered through certifications. These are specialty certifications. And of course, again, you would be requiring prior experience on AWS. It's a professional level certification. The length of this exam is 180 minutes. Cost is 300 USD, and there will be 75 questions again. So we have talked a lot about AWS certifications. If you still have questions, you want to prepare for the exam, you want guidance, I would recommend you also come and join the community, either be a mentor or support the community with whatever experience you have. If you're looking for mentor, that's another good place to be, because we have experienced people who can help you and guide you. So happy learning AWS. Let's also broadify this conversation with Azure. Let's say, okay, you are already certified AWS architect. Now what else? So you want to go hybrid. Now, there are multiple choices you can do. You can do Google certifications, similar type of certifications, or Azure DevOps certification track. For simplicity, I've mentioned Azure DevOps certification track here. And it will give you a fair idea about how similar or different these certifications are from each other. So Azure has like 4 levels of certification: fundamental certifications for beginners who are getting started in their journey of learning the cloud concepts. Again, a very good starting point for college students, people who are pivoting to a new career. If you are just going hybrid with, you are an AWS expert and you want to explore more on Azure, those kind of things, do check out the fundamental level certifications. Associate certification, if you are already familiar with Azure, you are good to go to get these certifications and list it in your resume. Obviously, expert certifications need prior experience, deep understanding, and associate level knowledge in Azure. Again, you can get expert level certifications through, diligence and through continuing your experience with these cloud technologies. Lastly, I would mention specialty certifications. They are for special roles. Obviously, they also have like data tracks and all that kind of things. But for this session, I will limit this conversation to cloud and DevOps fundamentals. So if you're looking for DevOps kind of a track, then I would recommend check out the Azure Fundamentals. The exam is AZ 900. It describes the cloud concept. 25 to 30% of the exam is covered by that. Describing Azure architecture and services, 35 to 40%. And then describing Azure management and governance, 30 to 35%. Again, the prerequisite, there is no prerequisite as such, only basic knowledge of cloud services and Azure platform. The exam cost is similar, 99 USD. And basically also it's based on location. The next certification I'm going to introduce to you is Azure DevOps certification. And this is the Administrator Associate. This is again the associate level, the second level of certification in the Azure, certification track. So Azure Administrator will, you should know like how to manage Azure identities and governance. It's 15 to 20% of that. Then implementing and managing storage, deploying and managing Azure compute resources, 20-25% of that. Configure and manage virtual networking. Monitor and maintain Azure resources. Again, I've given you the percentage of how this exam is distributed between the topics. There is no prerequisite for taking this exam, but it is recommended that you better go through AZ 900 first. That's the first level of the fundamental Azure fundamental certification before taking this. The cost of this is a little bit higher than the fundamental level, and it's also based on location. And all these details keep on changing. So please do refer to the Azure site for more details. Again, all this material is supported through free webinars, course material, white papers, and a lot of free courses when you actually hook onto your Microsoft site and you check out their training and exam catalog. I'll talk about Azure Developer Associate. Again, it's the second level of certification. And it is like, it will introduce you to how to develop Azure Compute solution, how to develop Azure Storage solution, implementing security in Azure, monitoring, troubleshooting, and optimizing Azure solutions, and connecting and how to consume Azure services and third-party services. Again, this is the second level. As I said, the exam code is AZ204. There's no prerequisite as such. Again, it's the same that Azure Fundamentals AZ900 is recommended before you do this. It's not a prerequisite. It's not mandatory. Exam cost, again, it's $165, and it's based on location. And also this cost keeps on like changing. So please refer to the site. I'll introduce you to the DevOps Engineer Expert. This is the third level of certification in the certification track, which is an expert level. What these experts would be able to do is developing an instrumentation strategy, develop a site reliability engineering strategy, develop a security and compliance plan, manage source control, define and implement continuous integration, and define and implement a continuous integration delivery and release management strategy. Job role, DevOps engineer. And to become Microsoft certified DevOps engineer expert, you must earn at least one of the following. Either you should have Azure Administrator Associate or Azure Developer Associate. And exams required is AZ400. Now we talk about Azure Solution Architects Expert. So designing identity governance and monitoring solution, designing data storage solutions, business continuity, infrastructure solutions design. These are part of responsibilities if you would like to kind of become a solution architect expert. And this is again the third level of certification in the track. The job role is solutions architect, and to become a Microsoft certified Azure solutions architect expert, you must earn Microsoft certified Azure Administrator Associate certification. So Administrator Associate certification, I have already mentioned it to you here in this slide. So again, I'm trying to kind of build this certification track from a DevOps or cloud engineering perspective. So I have mentioned all these certifications in a similar manner. Now, we have talked about AWS, we have talked about Azure. I would also like to bring your attention to other certifications which are very valuable in the context of cloud computing and DevOps engineering. So if you look at Certified Kubernetes Administrator or CKA, this certification is for Kubernetes administrators, cloud administrators, and other IT professionals who manage Kubernetes instances. CKA was created by Linux Foundation and the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, CNCF. Again, there is a good news. If you happen to join our face-to-face events, we have a giveaway, Certified Kubernetes Administrator exam guide, and this is sponsored by Pact. So obviously remember to subscribe to our meetup events and get a chance to win this exam guide. The duration of this exam is 2 hours. The cost is $395 for exam only. Again, these courses, some of these courses, you will find some ready material, some white papers, some guidelines, at the Linux Foundation. website. So go check out their training catalog and as well as their exam certification catalogs. I would also like to introduce Certified Kubernetes Application Developer. That's CKAD, that's Certified Kubernetes Application Developer exam certifies that a candidate can design, build, deploy cloud-native applications for Kubernetes. And this certification is for Kubernetes engineers or cloud engineers and other IT professionals responsible for building, deploying, and configuring cloud-native applications with Kubernetes. Again, the duration of the exam is 2 hours, cost is $395. Again, these things keep on changing, so please do refer to their site. Another interesting certification on the Kubernetes side is Certified Kubernetes Security Specialist. And this is called CKS. CKS program provides assurance that CKS has skills, knowledge, and competence on a broad range of best practices for securing container-based applications and Kubernetes platform during build, deployment, runtime. CKS certification is required in this, and CKS is a performance-based certification exam that tests candidates' knowledge on Kubernetes and cloud security. Very interesting certification from Kubernetes perspective. And lastly, I would mention KCNA, that's Kubernetes and Cloud Native Associate. This also is a very interesting exam, which demonstrates the user's foundational knowledge and skill in Kubernetes and wider cloud native ecosystem. I would highly recommend to check this out. There are like 5 different topics which are being tested: Kubernetes Fundamentals, Container Orchestration, Cloud Native Architecture, Cloud Native Observability, and Cloud Native Application Delivery. Again, very interesting exam. Duration of this is 90 minutes and the cost is $250 for exam only. Now, let's move on to other certifications. Of course, there is a plethora of knowledge available in different format, shape, and form. I would suggest that you also check out some neutral certifications, like bodies like DevOps Institute has been very, very active in developing, let's say, DevOps and related certifications. So they have a very popular exam, DevOps Foundation. They also have SRE Foundation and practitioner track. They also offer other certifications, so do check out their certification tracks. DevOps Foundation and Masters from Exin, that's another interesting organization who has been developing these exams for the students, and they also have a similar kind of, exams for DevOps and Cloud Foundation as well. Linux Foundation, I've already mentioned a couple of certifications from Linux Foundation. I will also mention DevOps and SRE Fundamentals from Linux Foundation. It's another interesting, course to follow. Some of the more upcoming and niche areas, if you're already seasoned professional and you have taken all these certifications which you were kind of willing to take, I would recommend you to check out a few upcoming areas like GitOps. There is a continuous delivery on Kubernetes with Flux. This is a course. I think the exam will come and appear soon. I'm hoping for that Linux Foundation will come up with an exam for this. There's another exam, Prometheus Certified Associate. If you're interested in that, this is, by and large, I think things which are associated with observability in general, if you find like good observability certifications, which are probably making, and some of them also are associated with technology choices and how things are being evolving. I think these are good areas to kind of think about getting certified or getting a course, on these topics. Developing Helm charts, if you're into more into containers and you want to kind of explore more, I think this is, and there are other certifications on similar lines from other organizations. Chaos engineering certification, there's another interesting area. There are certain organizations who have been developing and actively kind of moving the needle for chaos engineering. One of the excellent tracks we have is from Gremlin, so you can check out that. With that, I think we come to the end of this session. I hope that you found this session useful. Again, we will keep on bringing more information about all the certification exams, and probably I would also at some point in time like to do some kind of an assessment or evaluation on the micro degrees or diploma courses which are like existing in DevOps and cloud area, because there are a lot of these diplomas which are kind of more broader in nature and provides you a broader exposure to different concepts. So I think that is another area I would like to bring to you in near future. Again, all these upcoming areas which we talked about, GitOps or observability and related topics, I think that's another area which we can touch base upon if you're interested to have a deep dive on that. With that, I think we have come to the end of this session, but what I would like to remind you is we have a face-to-face meetup this month. If you are interested to know more about certifications, want to have some guidance from our community, you are most welcome to join the conversation face-to-face with our experts. I will also like to remind you that Certified Kubernetes Administrator Exam Guide, this is a giveaway from PACT, which we are also, giving away during our meetup events. So please subscribe to those. Lastly, I would like to talk about the upcoming book, which I'm writing, Strategizing Continuous Delivery in Cloud. If you want to get a sneak peek of that book from the author, you again are welcome to our face-to-face events. I'll talk more about it. The important thing to note about this book is the in-cloud concept and how continuous delivery is changing and what needs to be looked at from a strategic perspective when we take this continuous delivery in cloud ecosystem. So hopefully you found this session interesting. Please do let us know, comment in the comment box or touch base with our experts to know more about such sessions. I would like to sign off for today. With that, thank you for joining us and being here. Thank you.